You are watching the National News Desk, America's News Now. The first major winter storm of the season will wreak havoc on millions, where snow accumulations could exceed a foot and where ice will bring dangerous conditions.
Today, I'm going to be able to share with you some of what we believe to be his plans and motives as to why he conducted this attack.
Electronic notes retrieved from the Cybertruck fire in Vegas, the grim message the former Army service member was trying to send. And the highly contagious infection that's surging across the country. Why hand sanitizer will not help. This is the National News Desk, America's News Now. I'm Amira David. Right now, 60 million Americans under winter weather alerts as a major winter storm develops on top of ongoing lake effect snow and temperatures beginning to plummet from Arctic air. Heavy snow and ice forecast across the United States, the largest part of the country this weekend, from the Great Plains to the East Coast. Over a dozen states could get a foot of snow, and some places will see at least 2 feet. Ice accumulations could make travel and even walking on sidewalks extremely dangerous. The storm is expected to move off the coast by late Monday. Tonight, a possible motive uncovered in the case of that New Year's Day Cybertruck explosion just outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Authorities say their investigation has revealed several notes written on 2 phones belonging to the man found dead in the burned vehicle. In one, Matthew Livelsberger allegedly lamented what he called a terminally ill United States. A second note highlights more of the suspect's thinking.
This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it now? I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took.
It remains unclear whether he harbored any political grievances toward Elon Musk or Donald Trump, given the vehicle he used and the location of the explosion. And this just in, President Biden is expected to travel to New Orleans on Monday after the devastating terror attack that killed 14. On Wednesday, a Texas man rammed his truck into a crowd of people enjoying holiday festivities on Bourbon Street. Local officials say they've begun the process of figuring out where they may have fallen short when it comes to security infrastructure, but they're also expressing concern about the shortcomings of federal law enforcement. At an FBI briefing yesterday, it was made public that the suspected attacker posted threatening videos on social media well before the attack.
This was a cascading series of failures that also began with, if this guy was posting on social media what he intended to do, where was the intelligence to prevent this from happening in the first place?
The attacker had also planted 2 explosives in ice coolers in the French Quarter, but both were rendered safe by bomb technicians.
The 56th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, the Honorable Mike Johnson.
Well, only took 1 ballot, but it was not an entirely smooth vote for Speaker Mike Johnson this afternoon. After the initial counting of votes, Johnson was short 2 votes for the majority. The vote then remained open for more than a half hour when 2 dissenting Republicans changed their votes in favor of Johnson. CNN reports they spoke with President-elect Donald Trump before changing their minds. 2 years ago, then Speaker Kevin McCarthy needed 15 tries and several days before winning in 2023. But now the hard part begins for the Speaker and the Republicans, who hold one of the slimmest margins of majority in history of the House. And it starts with the House Rules package that contains their legislative priorities for the new Congress. The National News Desk's Janae Bowens takes a closer look at what's on deck.
House Republicans are out with their legislative priorities. Women's sports are number 1. Their measure to amend Title IX recognizes sex based solely on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth.
I believe that people turned out to the polls to reject absurdity, and that is exactly what the Democratic Party has become, allowing men and women's sports.
Riley Gaines, a former college swimmer who tied in a race with Leah Thomas, a transgender woman, has spent years fighting to see changes like this. Emily Randall, the first queer Latina to serve in Congress, says the measure is just a distraction.
These attacks on individuals who just want to play sports, just want to live their life, just want to be the person that they are completely unfair.
However, President-elect Donald Trump made the transgender issue a key campaign message.
Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you.
The Trump campaign spent millions to run this ad over and over again. Analysis by a Harris super PAC Future Forward found after voters watched this ad, support for Trump increased by 2.7%. House Republicans are also focused on abortion, proof of citizenship for voter registration, and of course the border. They're specifically targeting immigrants with criminal backgrounds.
I can't emphasize enough, close the border, secure our sovereignty.
And Amira, House Republicans have a bill that would prevent sanctuary states and cities providing benefits to undocumented immigrants from receiving certain federal funds.
And we know Mike Johnson obviously is going to remain the Speaker of the House. We know that he's posted about that topic recently. So what can we expect to see?
Yeah, so earlier today, he said that he's committed to lowering the national debt by doing several things, including creating a working group to work with DOJ and House committees on putting the recommended government and spending reforms into action. Amira.
All right, we'll see what happens very soon. Janae Bowens, live from Washington, D.C. Thank you, as always. The $14 billion deal for Japan's Nippon Steel to take over Pennsylvania-based U.S. Steel is now off the table. President Biden blocked the sale, calling it a matter of national security. Nippon Steel has previously signaled that it would take legal action if the deal was blocked. But for now, U.S. Steel remains under American control.
The president took action to block the deal to U.S. Steel U.S. Steel remains a proud American company, American owned, American operated by American union steelworkers and the best in the world.
Threatening letters are being sent to elected leaders across the country, warning them not to disrupt any immigration enforcement plans by the new administration. America First Legal, run by Stephen Miller, who will be Donald Trump's Homeland Security advisor, is sending the notices saying sanctuary cities are in violation of federal law and they must comply by the time Donald Trump takes office. Critics say these letters have no legal weight and are just a scare tactic. President-elect Trump says he plans to push forward with the largest deportation operation in American history after he is sworn in. And in a turn of events, Donald Trump will now be sentenced in the hush money trial a week and a half before becoming president of the United States again. Judge Juan Merchan says he wants to balance competing interests, allowing Trump to govern unencumbered by this case, as well as show that all are equal and no one is above the law. Judge Merchan suggested that no jail time, fine, or probation should be expected. Processed foods and synthetic food dyes are coming under the microscope in California. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a new executive order today to investigate the health risks that are associated with these additives and synthetics. The order includes packaged snacks, cookies, candy, sugary beverages, and processed meats, among other items. Donald Trump's pick to head the U.S. Health Department, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has promised to eliminate harmful chemicals and toxins in the American food supply if he is confirmed. And you can still access police body cam footage in Ohio, but it might cost you. Governor Mike DeWine just signed a controversial bill allowing law enforcement agencies to charge the public $75 per hour to process requests for videos like field work or footage from prisons and jails. Governor DeWine says the public's rights to access these videos is not at risk, but he strongly supports the new law. Oregon is the 9th state to ban styrofoam containers. All businesses now have until June 1st to comply or possibly face fines of up to $500 a day. Some restaurant owners say they were not aware of that new law and they've already purchased their containers for the new year. Others question whether the new law will even be enforced.
I had it from my food truck over in Washington since April. People are still using it to today. You can go over there, and that's been 8 months. So I don't think Oregon's going to enforce it either.
Some owners say the new law will add expenses on their end as they update their plates and carry-out boxes, and that cost will then be passed down to the consumer.
I think if it does good for the environment, I'm okay with it. But I think that in general, consumers are tired of prices increasing.
Boeing said it's made progress on its safety and quality plan since the mid-flight door plug blowout a year ago. In an update today, Boeing said it's reduced assembly defects, increased training, and improved a whistleblower program. The FAA administrator said his agency is meeting with Boeing regularly to review progress, but a fundamental cultural shift is still needed. JetBlue Airways has to pay $2 million in fines for chronic flight delays. It's the first time the Transportation Department has punished an airline for delays. Half of the fines will go to travelers hit with flight disruptions in the next year. The other half will go to the U.S. Treasury. The department said it is investigating other airlines for unrealistic flight schedules. Coming up, the new Surgeon General's warning that might make you think twice before cracking open a beer. Then, the dangerous prank teens are sharing online that has homeowners terrified. And later, the shape Western North Carolina is in 3 months after a devastating hurricane. We're back in just 90 seconds. Welcome back to the National News Desk. As you head into the weekend, a new warning from the Surgeon General giving a sobering look at the adverse impact of drinking alcohol. Health officials now saying alcohol consumption can increase the risk of developing 7 different types of cancer. And here's a look at those 7 that they say you're more inclined to get when you drink: breast cancer, colorectal, esophagus, liver, mouth, throat, and cancer of the voice box or larynx. Dr. Vivek Murthy, he says alcohol is attributed to 20,000 cancer deaths in the United States every year, and that's about 7,000 more than the amount of people who die in traffic crashes in the United States yearly. It's now the 3rd leading preventable cause of cancer. The advisory calls for new guideline limits for alcohol consumption and for an updated health warning label on alcoholic beverages, though that's a move that would require approval from Congress. Nationwide, cases of norovirus are on the rise this winter. Norovirus is a highly contagious stomach bug known as hand-to-mouth virus that is spread upon contact with surfaces like doorknobs, countertops, and cell phones, or with the shaking of hands. If you touch an infected surface and then pick up foods with your hands to consume, well, you can see how easily it spreads.
One of the challenges is that the alcohol-based hand sanitizers, unfortunately, don't work against norovirus. So even though we're all very good about using the hand sanitizers and it really helps to block a lot of the respiratory viruses, norovirus doesn't care about Purell.
That's frightening. But what does kill those germs is good old-fashioned soap and water. Other preventative measures include wiping down high contact surfaces. Bleach wipes and products with bleach are highly effective as well. And tonight, an urgent need for blood donations. Healthcare providers say the need right now is at an all-time high. Medical reporter Liz Bonus explaining what led to recent shortages that continue to impact our supply.
Hey there, everybody. From the drop in donors to respiratory illness season and even weather interruptions, it is a tough time right now for our nation's blood supply.
It is extremely important to get blood just for individuals to have a better quality of life.
Carla Howard knows the importance of those blood donations. She's a sickle cell survivor, a painful condition where the cells in the blood change shape and potentially block blood vessels, causing pain and serious health problems. Blood transfusions from donors often the only way to ease those symptoms.
Everyone could potentially have the possibility of needing blood.
Right now, Ohio's Hawksworth Blood Center teams telling us a number of factors contribute to a national blood shortage. They include fewer young people ages 16 to 24 donating blood, only about 7% of the population in the U.S. having type O blood, which is the universal donor, and recent disruptions in blood collection due to holiday travel, respiratory illnesses, and some wild weather and storms shutting down complete areas of the country.
And the only way we get blood is from individuals. There is not a lab that manufactures blood, so we have to give blood to save others.
All this, Carla says, at a time when people schedule year-end surgeries and accidents and injuries on the roads go up, leading to the need for emergency procedures and blood. Those who do donate, such as Jeff Perani, say they do it because
it feels great. I mean, if that's the least I can do, I want to do that. I want to give that.
You never know, Jeff says, when the life that needs to be saved might be your own or that of someone you love.
To donate blood, you simply need to be healthy, weigh at least 110 pounds, and be 17 or 16 with a parent's permission. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Liz, thank you. Funeral services for former President Jimmy Carter begin tomorrow in Georgia. A motorcade will carry Carter's remains through his hometown of Plains, then through Atlanta for a private service at the Carter Center. Carter will lie in repose until Tuesday. He'll then lie in state at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. until January 9th, the day of his national funeral service. Leaders in D.C. are ramping up security because of these special events and because of the congressional certification of electoral votes on January 6th. Officials say they're doing everything they can to prepare.
At this time, we are not tracking any credible or specific threats associated with these events. That being said, we are certainly operating in a heightened threat environment, especially given the incidents in both New Orleans and in Las Vegas on January 1st.
We have reporters all across the country in your neighborhoods covering the issues that matter most to you. We're taking the pulse of America, and we start in Utah with a trending prank that's terrifying homeowners.
I spoke with one woman who said her home was targeted around 9 p.m. at night when she heard 3 loud bangs on her front door. She said she was home alone, afraid, and ready to defend herself.
First thing I did was panicked, and I went immediately for my gun, and I hid in my house.
Another Hurricane homeowner caught part of the act on camera. You see a young girl run up to the home. She briefly disappears from view to approach the front door, then quickly runs away. Moore says the person in this video matches the description of the girl who approached her door twice. Other people have also been caught on home surveillance video. Some bang on the door with a fist, others kick the door.
So far this year, 15 Rhode Island nursing homes have been federally cited for serious deficiencies. In one case, one resident allegedly sexually abused another while left unsupervised for an hour and a half. In another, staff failed to give a resident 14 doses of their medication, and a staff member in another facility was fired after allegedly pushing a dementia patient down in her chair. I took the reports to Rhode Island Healthcare Association President John Gates.
46% of Rhode Island nursing homes have had serious deficiency in the last 3 years. Is that a failure among the industry? That's a pretty high number.
I think it's a sign of the times. I think during COVID, when they came in on infection control surveys, they were citing facilities for, if a CNA had her goggles on and she put them up on her head.
This video showing the scene Angelia Tate says is the weekend norm outside of the Petite Flea Market. These vendors selling dogs without city-mandated permits.
It starts here with the irresponsibility and not even knowing if these dogs even have, or these puppies even have their vaccinations or have been wormed.
Just 2 Saturdays ago, Animal Control Services raided the same spot on the Poteet-Jordanton access road. ACS officers took 24 puppies and wrote 21 tickets. Sellers came right back on Sunday.
That area along Poteet-Jordanton is certainly a hot spot. But unfortunately, this sort of illegal activity is going on throughout San Antonio.
Coming up, Western North Carolina is in a desperate need of help 3 months after Hurricane Helene. What one woman is calling for from her state when we come back. It's a new year, but so many in Western North Carolina have been forced to carry over old problems. 3 months after a devastating hurricane, ravaged roads and partially collapsed buildings remain. Families are still displaced. One woman impacted by Helene in unimaginable ways is on a mission to speed up the recovery her county so desperately needs. The National News Desk's Kimberly King has a look at Yancey County's cry for help.
Much of this county is still in a state of disarray, and across from where I'm sitting here at the Cane River, there used to be a number of people who lived in that building. It's been completely destroyed. And that's just part of the story here in Yancey County. One woman who's lived here all her life emailed News 13 asking for help and making a public plea for state leaders to come out here and take a look.
So we're going to go down here to B-Log's store that was completely washed away.
Makisha Phillips grew up here in Yancey County.
A lot of people, they still don't have power, so they're having to come down here and wash their clothes and take showers. People work their whole lives, and in one instant, it's all gone, and it's in our creeks.
Everywhere you look, there's earth destroyed by Helene. No new beginnings here with the turn of the January 1st, 2025 calendar page.
What are we going to do?
This is what's left of B-Log's general store.
Come down here and look where we're at. Come help us.
We need help with funding. We need help. Our elders, like I said, are in cars, tents, campers. So this is our small community called Egypt Ramsey Town.
Makisha emailed News 13 and we came out, advocating her community be seen.
And every time, of course, the creek starts, it starts raining, the rains start coming, all of it gets washed straight back into the river.
Local contractors, many volunteering time, are helping rebuild roads, but she begs state leaders to do more. But Makisha has another heartache from Helene. Floodwaters in Yancey County swept away her sister, Michelle Quintero.
She lived to help people, and she did. She was kind. They got a rope to her. They'd almost got her untangled. And he said, she looked at him and she said, "It's okay."
All units stand by to copy final call for Major Michelle Quintero. It is with great sadness that we mourn the loss of Major Michelle Quintero, a true dedicated and compassionate public servant.
Her sister vowing to carry on her sister's spirit and get Ramseytown the attention she feels it deserves.
And coming up, what to watch for during the final weekend of the regular NFL playing season that kicks off tomorrow. We'll be right back. The time has come. We've reached the final weekend of the regular NFL playing season. The marquee matchup, the Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. For the Lions, which has never appeared in the Super Bowl, the NFC North title and conference's #1 overall seed is on the line. The AFC North and NFC South divisions are also up for grabs. And a possible comeback story for the Cincinnati Bengals. Can they secure a spot in the playoffs, clawing back after losing their first 3 games of the season? Well, we're going to find out. The action kicks off tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern and continues through Sunday night. That does it for this edition of the National News Desk. We invite you to join us again this evening for more coverage of America's top stories. I'm Amira David. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful weekend.